What's going on, everybody? Jason Rubin for TYT Sports. We are not shooting in our tiny little phone booth anymore. Actually, just quickly out of a friend's apartment. Fortunately enough, he's been letting me use it for just a bit, so big shout out goes there. So topic of discussion for today, mid-afternoon on Sunday, is the Seahawks versus the Eagles Sunday Night Football game. And more importantly, everything to do with Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. There was two things that were circulating through Reddit's NFL thread this morning. I'm shooting this on Friday afternoon. The first comes from Reddit user RC1206-FIERFEK, I guess. And he said this earlier: Russell Wilson this season has a higher completion percentage on deep passes, 58.7%, than Cam Newton has on everything, 56.5%. So at first this stat just jumps out to me like, how could that even be possible? And then you realize too that save for Cam Newton's unbelievable throw to score in the Thursday Night Football game where Ted Ginn picked it up in the back of the end zone. A great catch too, but seriously, he was about to get knocked out, Cam Newton. He made that pass. Cam Newton's never been considered a crazy accurate passer. He's always been a guy who was able to keep plays alive with his legs, his strength, his ability, his arm strength too. He's got a strong arm. Doesn't necessarily mean you have an accurate arm. And he's never been the most accurate quarterback in the league. And he does take shots downfield, like he did, I guess, on Thursday night, and they just held on for the 23-20 win against the Saints. But in Russell Wilson's case, he was the guy that was always more accurate, but never had necessarily the strongest arm. And again, similarly, keeps plays alive with his legs. The title of this clip that you're seeing is, healthy Russell Wilson is all the Seahawks need. And that's what I believe is true. So a couple weeks ago, let's say about 4 or 5 weeks ago on a Turks and Jerks Monday clip, the Seahawks defense, all the numbers save for actual turnovers like interceptions, was better on defense. All the statistics on defense this year than it was in 2013, that great Seahawks Super Bowl winning, trouncing the Broncos defense that they did to win the Super Bowl. They were actually better across most numbers, if not all numbers, again, save for turnovers. So the Seahawks on defense this year, holding teams to 17.6 points per game, which is good for second in the NFL, 338.4 total yards, good for ninth in the NFL, 241.7 pass yards, good for 10th in the NFL, and rush yards at 96.8. So again, this is a top-tier defense, especially the most important number out of all those is points. How many points are you allowing per game? And 17.6 isn't a lot. Hence why the second in the league ranking. Now, what was hurting them earlier on was they were playing a battered, hobbled, limping, not 100% and an obvious not 100% Russell Wilson. Now, their run game, obviously different without Marshawn Lynch, and they released Christine Michael and all of that. But their passing game started to work a little bit better when Jimmy Graham was starting to be utilized a lot more. His usage simply went up, and Russell Wilson got healthier. Now, just to show you another fun stat, or at least graphic in terms of Reddit, this also comes from Reddit this morning. NFC West starting quarterbacks, 2012 to the present. So we're talking 4.5 years, right, since 2012. There have been 12 starting quarterbacks in the NFC West for the combination of the 49ers, the Cardinals, and the Rams. There has been one for the Seahawks, which again, everyone knows this. You find yourself a franchise quarterback and you can really start winning games at a much higher rate because you can start putting more resources into your defense, your offensive line, your just everywhere else. I wanted to continue at least on the front of the Seahawks end because there's actually another cool storyline for tonight's game. I apologize if my eyes are kind of fading around the computer screen. I'm reading as I'm recording the clip. So Tim McManus from ESPN.com wrote a headline Friday in the childhood connection that drew Carson Wentz to Russell Wilson. And Carson Wentz is a big Russell Wilson fan, turns out. So he said, quote, "I've actually been a big fan of his since I was younger. He was an NC State guy, and I was an NC State fan as a kid. So I watched him and I followed him for a while. Been a big fan of his and a lot of respect for him. He came into this league right away and kind of took it by storm as a late pick. It was impressive. I have a lot of respect for him. I'm looking forward to going up against him." And then he discussed watching Wilson at NC State. Quote, "It was really just the way he played the game. He was a playmaker. He was a pretty darn good player. Obviously, as a fan, I was a little biased to him. But then just who he is off the field as well, his faith and stuff is something. I feel like we would get along really well. So I look forward to meeting him and playing him." So, it's another additional storyline to a Sunday Night Football game. And this game just simply has tremendous implications across the entirety of the NFC playoff picture. The NFC East is entirely up for grabs because of the playoff, the wild card that's going to maybe allow 2 NFC East teams in the wild card on top of the Cowboys going in as I would assume right now, the division winner. But 2-game lead, the Giants do have the 1 win over the Cowboys and the 1 win over the Eagles so far. A lot of division matchups coming down the stretch. So that, of course, division is not even close to settled. And the Eagles being 5-4, technically on the bottom of that division in itself. So they're in almost a must-win situation. The Seahawks, too, if they weren't to win this game, it does open the door for the Cardinals to try to sneak their way back in at 4-4-1 because the Seahawks are 6-2-1. So again, this should be a tremendous Sunday Night Football game. There's a lot going into it. Just wanted to share a little bit about how healthy Russell Wilson is what the Seahawks need to really make a push down the stretch and a playoff run. I do believe that with the defense playing the way they are and healthy Russell Wilson and the way they're using Jimmy Graham, they don't even need to find so much of a run game to really make a push for the Super Bowl this year as well. A lot of football left to be played, but once again, healthy Russell Wilson, all the Seahawks really need right now. Comment below, like, favorite, subscribe. What do you think is going to happen at the Sunday Night Football game between the Eagles and the Seahawks? You know, Russell Wilson, the Seahawks, how do their Super Bowl chances look just over halfway through the season? You can follow me at JasonRubin91 on Twitter and at JasonRubin91 on Instagram, and we will see you next time.